Once upon a time, the whole world said, Japan is the future. Robots, electronics, machines. All this was associated with the land of the rising sun. But 40 years have passed, and now a new player is on the scene, South Korea. Samsung, Hyundai, LG, SK are names that have become symbols of the technological power of the 21st century. Today, we will compare two eras, Japan in the 1980s and South Korea in the 2020s. Who has become Asia's true leader in technology, innovation, and global influence? The 1980s. The world is going through a technological revolution, and Japan is at the forefront of it. In those years, the Japanese economy was considered a miracle. After decades of reconstruction, Japan has become the laboratory of the future. Sony, Panasonic, Toshiba, Hitachi, Toyota, Honda, these brands were not just famous, they set world standards. Televisions, video recorders, cameras, game consoles, cars, almost everything that had an electronic board was made in Japan. Japan in the 1980s became a symbol of engineering excellence. The culture of quality, attention to detail, and the Kaizen philosophy of continuous improvement have turned Japanese companies into a benchmark for efficiency. Fear and admiration grew in the world. American manufacturers were losing the competition, and Japanese corporations were buying Manhattan real estate and Hollywood studios. Toyota and Honda conquered the roads. The Sony Walkman became an icon of the era, and Nintendo began to create a global gaming industry. But time is ticking. In the 1990s, Japan faced a housing bubble, followed by a crisis and a decade of stagnation. The economy has slowed down, innovation has stopped being so explosive, and a corporate culture based on stability and hierarchy has begun to hinder flexibility. Japan remains a technology giant, but it is no longer the engine of progress it was in the 80s. Now it's South Korea in the 2020s. The country that was once considered Japan's disciple has become its competitor and even successor. Today, Korea dictates trends, from smartphones and screens to cars and semiconductors. Samsung is the global leader in sales of smartphones and OLED displays. LG creates the best panels for TVs. Hyundai and Kia have transformed from budget car manufacturers to leaders in the electric vehicle segment. And SK Hynix and Samsung Semiconductor compete with Intel and TSMC for the title of the largest manufacturers of microchips. Unlike Japan in the 80s, Korea relies on flexibility and speed. There are no long-term approvals and bureaucratic delays here. Decisions are made quickly. Large corporations, chaebols, manage the economy, but adapt to trends with lightning speed. That is why Korea was the first to respond to the digital age, from the transition to 5G to the mass adoption of AI and robotics. It is also important to understand the cultural aspect. If the Japanese economy was based on discipline and stability, the Korean economy was based on ambition and expansion. Samsung and LG have never been afraid to take risks. They were the first to introduce bendable screens to the market, experimented with smartphone form factors, and innovated, even if not all of them were successful. Japan remained cautious. They prefer to improve existing technologies rather than create radically new ones. It gave stability, but it cost global leadership. In the 1980s, Japanese engineers set the rhythm for the world. Today's South Korean developers are doing it. Look at the microchip industry, the heart of the modern economy. No smartphone, car, server, or rocket works without them. And it is Korea that holds key positions here. Samsung and SK Hynix produce about half of all memory chips in the world. Japan, once a leader in microelectronics, now plays a more important role as a supplier of materials and components, but not ready-made solutions. And this reflects the overall transformation. In the 1980s, Japan was the creator. Korea is now the integrator. She collects technologies, improves them, and brings them to the mass segment. But the most interesting thing is the impact on culture. In the 80s, Japanese pop culture, anime, games, music conquered the whole world. South Korea is doing the same thing today. BTS, Blackpink, Netflix series, Korean fashion, cosmetics. All this is not just a trend. It's a soft power comparable to the Japanese era of the 80s. That is why comparing Japan in the 1980s and Korea in the 2020s is not just a matter of technology, but a matter of epochs. Japan is a symbol of industrial modernization. Korea is a symbol of the digital future. Japan built televisions, Korea built ecosystems. If we talk about global influence, in the 1980s, Japan was shaping the consumer electronics market. Sony determined how we listen to music. Nintendo determined how we play. Toyota determined how we drive. In the 2020s, Korea is shaping a digital lifestyle. Samsung is in every home. Netflix is full of Korean TV series. Hyundai is creating electric cars of the future. In terms of technology, Japan is still strong. Robotics, industrial production, materials, sensors. But Korea has taken the lead in the mass consumer segment and digital integration. The main difference is the approach to innovation. In the 1980s, Japan was creating a world where technology was the perfection of form. In the 2020s, Korea is creating a world where technology is a way to interact with humans. So who is Asia's technology leader now? The answer depends on how we understand leadership. If we talk about basic science, engineering, and precision, Japan is still strong. When it comes to influencing global markets, culture, trends, and the digital world, Korea is confidently ahead. Japan taught the world how to create. Korea taught the world how to dream about the future. And perhaps most importantly, both countries have proved that Asia is no longer catching up with the West, but determining what tomorrow will be like. My personal opinion is that Korea in the 2020s has managed to take over the baton and not just continue on its way, but change the very essence of technological leadership. Japan inspired, Korea realized, and now it is she who sets the rhythm of the whole of Asia, from electronics to culture, from innovation to ideas.